What's going on, everybody? It's Joe from the Acceptable Casualties here to take a look at Battlegroup Market Garden. This is their latest release. It's a supplement for Battlegroup. This book right here, it plays off of the Overlord book, so you're going to need Overlord to really get everything you want to get out of the Market Garden book. So it's kind of a supplement for a supplement, but totally worth picking up. I've been waiting for this one more than any book that's come out, Market Garden. I love it, the history of it, especially from the German side, like doing a little bit of research and reading on it. It's kind of crazy how they were able to withstand that whole airborne invasion with kind of just these ragtag, companies and divisions and everything kind of just getting put together, ad-libbed throughout the entire battle as far as reacting to the airborne landing and trying to get organized and actually put together a defense. If you read it from the German perspective, you can really kind of appreciate the Germans' organizational skills when they're on their back foot, just trying to hold ground and protect Germany as the Allies were knocking on their door. It's a really interesting read if you guys enjoy the history part of it, not just the game part of it. But before I start going off on too much of a tangent, let's just kind of get into the book. So this is Battlegroup Market Garden right here. This is the cover. It's a little bit thinner than Overlord if you guys have already picked up Overlord here, but the content in here is really, really good. So like I said, it's a supplement for the Overlord book. They go pretty much hand in hand together. So, like I say every time, the photos and stuff that they put together in here with the models, they do a great job of setting the scene and kind of getting you into it. So here's the table of contents right here. You're looking at roughly 100 pages for this book right here. Tons of fluff in here. So this is all sorts. They give you the rundown for Market Garden, the whole plan of the operation and how it went from start to finish, as far as the airdrops and then pushing up in the Holland along the bridges as well. And in this book too, you get 101st Airborne, 82nd Airborne. You get 30 Corps, so you get all the British tank support. You get 1st Airborne for the Brits and their lists as well. It's pretty cool here. He gives you the maps, all the drop zone landings, and everything that goes with that. It's kind of cool to see some of the photos and the planning that went into it. It's such a huge operation. So you have all the stuff here. Guessing some fluff too for SS training reserve battalions and how that all worked out. You got some more stuff in here just as far as how all these units broke down in the field. So here's some more stuff, more fluff as far as the operation goes, bridge landings, between, and it's a lot of 82nd Airborne, 101st, 1st Airborne Division for the Brits. A lot of fluff on that. So if that's your bag, you guys are gonna like this book a lot. It goes into a lot of stuff too for the Battle of Arnhem. For you German players, a lot of cool stuff in here too for von Titau, and then a lot of the little conf groups that got thrown together for the defense. There's a lot of good fluff in here as well for that kind of stuff, like Conf Group Spindler down here. Just a lot of good information. And like I said, if you're really interested in Market Garden, there's a ton of stuff in here. Just pick up the book just for the value of the information that's in it and the reading. It's a lot of good stuff in here. And if you're just curious about it and you still want to play the game but maybe open up into this theater, there's a lot of stuff in this book that it'll set the hook, man. It'll make it that much more enjoyable as you just go through the pages and kind of read about it. So like I said, even more fluff in here. It breaks down the whole operation in such great detail. Each of the battles along each of the bridges and the air landings, and from everybody's perspective, does a great job. Here's Conf Group Ewing down here, some tidbits on them. A lot of the stuff that you guys see in the white sections is pretty much all Allied. When you start getting up into the grays, it's a mix of Allied and German stuff. So as I'm going through the pages right here, gives you guys kind of a better idea. Let me see if I can't get that light off. I apologize. There we go. All right. So keep going through down here. Like I said, some more photos of everything that's going on. Like I said, a lot of fluff in this book. We're already on page 40, and there's tons of it. As I said, just keep going here. I mean, it's almost like a day by day, and there's just tons and tons of information that go through on a lot of this stuff. So let's see if we can start getting into some of the content. All right, so here we go. So yeah, so we're getting up here on page 48. So almost roughly halfway through the book, you're going to start getting into actual gameplay content and out of the fluff. So they have rules for fighting in Holland for liberators. When you guys look at the lists in here, you're going to see that the infantry list for the Airborne for Americans You don't have any armored support options because you're going to be pulling off of the British armored support. So it's going to be like a combined operation. So you're going to get like 30 Corp, and then you're going to get like U.S. Paras. So you're going to have to combine the lists right there. And there's a rule for it. You take 25% of the battle group's total points from the British Armored Division to do your armored support for the lists. And they go over all that stuff down here. Different special rules for like local guides and communication breakdowns. It's all in here if you're going to play like themed games out of Market Garden. For the German lists, how I said earlier that it plays off of the Overlord book. So you're going to go through the first couple pages here. It's page 48, 49, 50, and 51. These are the lists here, and it's just, you take the list from the Overlord book, and then these have some like modifications, some changes to it as far as equipment you can take, special rules. Like here's the Fallschirmjäger, here's your standard infantry division, and then this one back here is for your Panzer division. So if you're running any of those kind of lists, it gives you an idea of what they were about in the Market Garden theater and the changes that go to it to get those German lists operating. Like I said, these were, like I said, they were ragtag units at this point. I mean, after getting beat out of Normandy, they were coming back and they were just piecemealing these defenses together and putting them all together. So these lists kind of reflect that as far as how you're putting everything together and how they're pointed out and what options you have as far as some of your support and armor support. So it's kind of cool to use these lists and really get a feel for how battered they were when these defenses were actually put into play. So like I said, that's the German section right here. Like I said, it's 3 quick pages that you're gonna be referencing the Overlord book for if you're gonna be playing these lists out of Market Garden. So when we get into the army lists right now, boom, we get right into British 1st Airborne Division. So if you're going to be doing Arnhem or anything like that, this would be what you would play into. So you got your Airborne Infantry Platoon, and you also have options for the Air Landing Platoon. So you got your glider stuff, and then you got your Airborne. So you have 2 options in here. Very infantry focused. If you're an infantry player, this is what it's all about right here. You got some option for artillery. You got some pack howitzers, I think you can throw in here. As well as some off-table mortar fire, and then you get some other howitzers as well. Defenses, you got some booby traps. You know, they dropped in. They didn't really have time to dig out these crazy defenses unless you're doing like Arnhem or something like that. But you can get like AT dugouts and stuff for your 6-pounders. There's still stuff in here to build a decent defense with your airborne units. Your recce, you're going to be looking at recon jeeps, snipers, mostly foot patrol. Like I said, you drop behind enemy lines, you don't have a lot of the equipment that you normally would think with these guys. Engineer support units, you're looking at bulldozers and airborne engineer sections. Like I said, it's all about boots on the ground with these lists. Logistics, same kind of thing with that. You know, mostly jeeps, not a lot of big trucks or anything. Anything that you can fit on a glider is pretty much what's in this list right here. Specialist support units, you got options for some 17-pounders. That's probably the biggest gun that I think you're gonna be able to get in the air landing list. Everything else you're gonna be relying on is mostly like 6-pounders, Piats, a lot of anti-tank grenades. So it's gonna get down and dirty if you're running those infantry lists out of this book. Fire support over here, a lot of options for mortars, and you got some 25 off tables and 5.5s. You're gonna get some air support coming in as well. So if you're into that, that's here. And that's what you're looking at right there for the British Airborne getting dropped in. For American Airborne, this is what you're looking at right here. Remember what I said earlier about this one getting split up between the infantry section? You don't get armor support, you'd be using 30 Corp. So that's what you're looking at here. So this is the American page. You got your forward HQ. This is all airborne. So if you're running 82nd, 101st, or anything like that, you're gonna be playing off of this. So you got one page for your infantry, and then you have another section for your gliders, bringing them in. Sitting up here. Artillery, you got a little more options here with the American artillery as far as your pack howitzers, your standard howitzers. You got aerial artillery observers, you got some mortars. You know, you got a couple. It seems like you got not much more, but you have a little bit more flexibility with the American list here. Same with the defenses. Engineer support, you're just gonna be looking at combat engineers down there. Recce, you're going to be looking at, you got Jeeps with the 30 cals. What else are you looking at over here? You got some pan guys. I'm not sure what those are. Those look pretty cool. Those auxiliaries and stuff. So maybe, I don't know, are they're going to be like Holland Nationals coming out and helping you out of the woodwork. Like partisans and stuff. I wonder how they're looking at that a little bit more. Infantry foot patrol, you have options for that in here. For logistics, you got a little more options for your logistics as far as ambulances, supply columns, forward aid posts. That's all here as well. Specialists, you got an AA gun. You got the 50 cal AA, and you can throw it in a Jeep, or you can give it the extra loader. So that's what you're looking at for specialists. Additional fire support back here. It's kind of same options, not as the Brits, but the same amount of options. It looks like it's pretty good there. But that's what you're looking at right there for Allied lists. That's why you need the Overlord book, so you can go on and you can reference the British armor, and you can use that to support these airborne lists. So like I said, this book is literally built around American and British airborne. You can use the British list to build out Poles as well. If you wanted to build Polish airborne, dropping in, they were part of it. So that's what you're looking at right here. You take Overlord if you're going to start bringing in armored support for these guys. Battles in Holland, so you kind of got to get into some of the custom missions in here, and this is where this book really shines. So you get the Sons of San in here, so really cool fleshed out missions. They're all platoon level too, so you don't have to have these huge collections ready to rock and roll. You can kind of get in there with, it's roughly battle rating 30 to 40, I think, for a lot of the missions. Really fleshed out as far as special rules, kind of describing what the battle is. The maps, I always like how they set the maps up too, where you place your objectives. They're really done well as far as how to lay your terrain on the table and really kind of get a chance to replay historically how that game was laid out. You got No Walk in the Park, so you got the Battle for Hunter Park. Like another one here, these battle ratings for this are 30 and 45. Like I said, they're not balanced down the line. This is just kind of how it was. So, the Germans are kind of on their back foot here. Tons of cool special rules in this one as well. You got another one right here, multiplayer scenario. So this is something a little bit different in there. You got Bridge Too Far. So you got the mini campaign set up for Market Garden. Over here gives you how to play the campaign, all the missions that would go into it, for missions games 1, 2, 3, and 4, how to give out your points, victory points, and then extra points as you win. You get extra points to spend, I think, on the Holding Frostbridge, which is scenario 7. So as you play out these scenarios, they're all fleshed out great too. I mean, as far as laying the maps out, history for it, attaching units. This is British 1st Airborne Division. Here's scenario 2. Like I said, this one is loaded with missions and different kinds of scenarios and maps. So if you're looking to expand on that as far as your what you want to get out of the game, this is a great book to pick that up for. Here's scenario 3. This is Gravener's Attack. I've been dying to build the Gravener list. Just all those armored cars and everything kind of shooting across that bridge, getting blown up. I thought that would be a really cool scenario to put together. Once I get my early war Germans done, I might come back and put together the Gravener Recce list. It looks like a really cool list and a fun list to play. I like the mobility on it. So yeah, scenario 3, scenario 4. I mean, like I said, there's so much stuff. Forest fighting down here. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. The Dragon's Den. What else we got over here? And each one of these, like I said, they're all fleshed out. I'm kind of going through it pretty quick right now, but they're all platoon level. All really, like I've read through, they're all really well fleshed out as far as each one of these scenarios and missions. They really do, based off reading, and I haven't played all of them yet, but based off reading, they all really feel like they're very individualistic. Like they have their own flavor to them, and they'll play great. So if you're going to do the scenarios and the mini campaign, it's going to be a lot of fun. You should definitely do it if you're going to pick up the book. Here's Frostbridge right here, the last battle for it. This is when you take all the victory points that you've gotten together, you get extra points for your list, and then you kind of throw it together right there and tack it on the back of that. So that's the book right here for Market Garden. Like I said, roughly 100 pages. Really cool book. So like I said, especially if this is like your theater. If Market Garden's your thing, totally worth picking up, without a doubt. Like I wouldn't, out of all the books that I've gotten for them, Barbarossa and Market Garden are the two that I don't want to say that I'm the most impressed with, but the two that I could see me enjoying the most. Like they give you everything that you want from a fluff perspective, as well as gameplay options, and really fleshing out the list of the people that were there for your Airborne, and getting a feel for those conf groups that were patched together for the Germans, as well as the scenarios and all the missions that go with it. This is a really good book if you're interested in getting into Market Garden or want to play it. So if you guys got any questions, any feedback on how I'm doing the book reviews or anything, or some more stuff that you guys might want to see, just leave a comment, let me know, send me a message, or anything like that. If you guys like what's going on, you guys know the routine, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. So I'll catch you guys later.